Right. So with the magic of a stop button and a record button, we're now indoors. So 7 months ago, we took out the old original Victorian fireplace. We took out a slightly woodworm damaged fire surround, and we exposed the arch which was hidden behind the fire surround, and got super excited. And we'll put a log burner in and it will look really nice, maybe one with double doors on. When we sit in here of an evening, we sit and we look, and it's a very, very plain wall. Even with a log burner in there, it's still going to look quite flat. And we miss the fire surround, and we miss the open effect of Victorian fireplace. Or not even effect, it was an open fireplace. We bang on about restoring, keeping, and so far, on the whole, we've taken all of the joists out, all of the floorboards, all the partitions, one of the doorways. We're putting it back in. Now, initial measurements, the inset log burner, it won't fit. And we measured and we measured again, and I said to Dawn, it just isn't going to fit. The following night, Dawn was sat there, she went, "Are you sure it won't fit?" Tape measure came out again, and with a tiny compromise, we can pretty much restore the fireplace to how it was, but have a modern day inset log burner in there. So with the fire back in place, the two compromises we have to make. Because the inset stove is a little bit deeper than the fire hole itself, we're going to have to bring this forwards about 3 inches, 4 inches. Also, due to the height of the inset stove, this is too low. Now, we could have it open like that, but then the heat that should come out the front of the stove is going to go up and just into the space behind the fire itself. So after Dawn doing a load of watching on videos, she came across one example of what some fire installers had done so the original fireplace could be kept. And in its most simple form, that gets cut along there. Now, to us, you think, oh, you're just cutting it, it's going to ruin it. We can either take this out completely and it's just not in the house, or we can compromise and we can take that off and keep the original tiles in place. And then the bonus, I'm going to sand down the original timber fire surround, and all that can go back in place as well. Now, that's as far as I've got at the moment. That's what it is. I offered up the original fire surround today, and when you see it, you go, it just looks right. It brings the feature back into the room, which was this fireplace. We're hoping this week that Sean, the guy who put the flexi pipe in for us, or helped put the flexi pipe in, I helped him really, and also did the ridge tiles on the corner of the house. We're hoping he'll be here this week.
Good morning. Right, today is Tuesday. Yesterday I was coming out here because it was going to be dry all day, and then it proceeded to rain most of the day. But I'll flick you around in a minute and you can see we managed to get some tarps over the top, so hopefully if it does rain again we're going to be all right. There we go, new and improved. We're hoping we don't need this stabilising pole, because that's what we cut down to put up the top, because we got other pieces of scaffold, but it's so high up in the air that for the sake of I'm going to go out on a limb and say just another week of doing this. We've used this pole. We've got another 3, so we're fine, but this worked really well. And at the moment it's really still, there's no rain. So it's get on with getting the big ones on. I don't know if you can see from here. The water over here. So we're just about to try one of the big stones, make sure the room's still there, just in case any of the rubble fell down behind before I start slapping any mortar in. But that's what we're doing, we're just starting. We have Ben over there, and then we have the resident supervisor at the corner of the house. Hey, come in. It's not one of the cats. It's, if you've watched our videos for a long time, it's Barky Bark. But he likes to hang around and see what's going on, don't you? You come in and see us? There's a good boy. We're slow. It's taken us a year, but we're slowly gaining his trust, aren't we?
Another stroke? As you come down? Another stroke? No?
No, I tried earlier and he thought it was game time. Good boy. Hello, young man. Sorry, I'm taking away because we got to see Steve. 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 Where you going? Steve. Well, isn't that just rude? Alan and Rex are best mates. Aren't you? You two? Yeah. Steve isn't a fan. But that was because the very first meeting, Rex chased Steve right up the tree, didn't he?
Yeah.
So Steve holds a grudge and he doesn't like Rex.
You're annoying.
Come on, Ellen. Yeah, you're going to see Rex. But they do like each other. They play. We sometimes wish Alan had a little bit of fear. But he loves everything. He goes up to the big dogs, the little dogs. Are you a good boy, Rex? Oh.
See ya.
Bye-bye. We call him the Lord Mayor. Because he just keeps counsel, doesn't he, over everything that comes past. Right, he's satisfied, it's all right.
Friends.
One sec. Ah, now you know what I feel like. Right, I'm going to start again now. And then I coughed. Right, so me and Ben this morning, I've already been up here to try the first big stone. You can just about see Ben in the corner there. And we've decided we know where it goes. And this is its first sitting down into mortar. And we're hoping, yeah, you can put that one down there. It's going to sit down nicely. That's the start of this peak coming to completion. So it's quite, for me especially, that's quite exciting. From starting at the bottom to worrying that these were going to fall on my head any minute,
Yeah.
to now being able to get them back in securely.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Thought
You'd like to be there for that momentous occasion.
Right, so I'm in the shed. Now this is the flappy part of the Victorian fireplace. Now this is the part which I said earlier in the video that's going to have to be cut down, which is terrible, but it's like I said, we either don't cut it down and we can't use the entire fireplace, which means it's not in the house, or we cut it down and the majority of it's still as it should be. But over the years, I think the heat on the back of this plate has caused rust. It's been varnished or painted or something on it. So what I'm hoping to be able to do a good while ago, and this goes back to when we first came and a big cast iron bed was in the bedroom, we're like, yeah, we'll be able to use that. It was only as time went on and we measured the bed and everything else, it was actually a small double bed. We were used to a king size bed. We were going to go with a king size bed. We ended up with a super king size bed. Anyway, that's something else. So anyway, a while ago, Dawn did a little bit of reading online and come across this HG rust remover. We've not used it before. We're hoping it's going to work to bring this back. Right, so we've got my container, my rubber gloves so it doesn't eat my skin off. I've stolen somebody's mug, cup of tea. Rob, don't worry, it is Barry's tea. It's actually Barry's Master Blend tea in the black box. And to be fair, it's probably the best tea bags we've ever had. Oh, I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting clear. Now it also says about if it's used on top of paint or varnish that it will need to be reapplied. So I'm hoping that means it will eat through this varnishy stuff that they've got on here. So this really is just an experiment to see if this is going to work, or are we going to need something like a nitro mortar to get the paint off first before we then put the rust remover on. So we will see how that goes, and in the meantime I'll go back to sanding the wooden fire surround.
So whilst I'm making another mix, I thought I'd show you where I am at the moment. Got one of the big ones back on, one of the centre ones, so we're getting there. because the next one that goes in over here will be the real big piece of sandstone, which I can't lift, so I'm going to have to get Ben to give us a lift with that. Ben's indoors because exciting things are happening indoors. I'm not even sure if I'm allowed to tell you because it depends on the way that Ben edits it, but anyway, I'm going to tell you and then he can cut it and do whatever he likes with it. We're yeah, if you've watched our other videos, you'll know that we don't on a whole have anyone in. We tend to do it ourselves. But when it comes to stuff that's on the roof of this house, because it's a big house, we're too chicken to get up there and do that, either of us. So if it's anything to do with the roof, like the ridge tiles needed fixing, the slates needed replacing, and anything to do with the chimneys, we get Sean. He's a general builder and he's absolutely amazing. But he's here today to help Ben, or Ben help him attach an inset stove that we've got, and this is why it's exciting, because we get to keep the old Victorian, there's a giant moss, the old Victorian fireplace and the surround. We decided we'd go for an inset stove just so we could use those, and I think Ben's already said this anyway, but just in case he hasn't, I thought I may as well. And then we'll be getting a flue liner in the bedroom above the living room, so that in Lucas's bedroom we've got a small stove, second-hand small stove, that we're gonna try and bring that back to life a little bit. Ben's bought all the little parts, bits and pieces that needs to go with it to get that up and ready. So yeah, very exciting day for us, because it means we get proper heat the other side of the house, which we haven't had since we've been here, so that's going to be amazing. But anyway, yeah, while I was making the mix, I thought I'd show you this. So let's turn it around. I might get down and show you it. I don't know if you can see it from the ground, that's the trouble. Let me have a look. We'll get down. Oh, you can, yeah, you can just about see it under that bar. So it's starting to look proper triangular again, and it will be nice to get this scaffolding down to show you it in its full glory. I didn't do a lot of recording yesterday because these big stones, they're quite difficult to get on, and because I'm quite particular, I do tend to move them around quite a lot. I have my photographs that I go off of, so I go and grab Ben normally, and then I just got in a bit of a pickle and then got a bit grumpy and didn't record too much of it yesterday, but I'm back to it today, and so far so good. Just waiting for the mix to do to get the next big stone on, because this is for the other big stone that has for a long time looked like it was just about ready to fall off. So this is quite exciting to me. Downside is I can't lift it, so I'm having to get Ben to lift it up for me. There, number 7 is the offending article. Looking at it on this screen, it doesn't look that big, but believe me, it is huge and I just can't lift it, so I'll have to get Ben to do it. And just hope that I've put the mortar in the right place and not too much that you can't get it to sit right.
It's so heavy.
It is, isn't it?
So at this point Sean had been and I'd assisted, and we got the stove in the living room installed. The register plate, which I forgot to film, that's also installed. You'll see a little bit of that in a minute. And this is just where I was starting the work of restoring the flappy bit off the fireplace. I'm sure the flappy bit has a proper name. So the register plate's in its final position, fairly wedged actually on the unevenness of the stones sticking out. So I've been round and used fireproof insulation, and the same, I don't know if you can see, but all the way along. So that's sealed, so that will keep the heat in once the stove is lit. So I've already put the fire rope, which actually is sufficient to seal this section to stop the fumes from the fire escaping up the side of the flue liner. But I'm also going to put some fire cement in as well to be 100% safe. It's better off having two ways to stop smoke coming out than just the one. So I'm just going to put it down on top of the fire rope all the way around, compact it down, and then once that's done you apply heat gradually for 4 hours. What a mess. Which then makes this set rock hard. So with now numb hands from the bout sander and the flat plate sander, not quite finished, but it's certainly getting there. I've just got the detailing to do. We've got one of those little triangular sandy things, so there's just down there to do, and the same the other side, and then up in here as well. Get rid of some of the paint. That came off quite well, there's just a little bit left in there, and then this side, and then I can get and treat it. Right, let's see what the flappy bit from the fire is doing. So with a combination of chemical and mechanical, it's nearly back to its original condition. I think I'll give it some more rust remover overnight, but that's looking incredible.
So it felt like this day would never come, but finally I am getting there. These, that one and that one are the last 3 top stones. I've replaced a gap in between there and a gap in between there because that's where all the ivy was. There probably were stones in there previously, but obviously by the time the ivy had done its job, they had gone, so there was no stones in it once we removed the ivy. So I'm guessing that they look all right, so that's the main thing. I'm a little bit of a perfectionist, in case you hadn't realised, with how long this is, or this has taken me to do. So I've gone back over my photos and I like things to be right. Mainly because I don't want to have to do them again. So I'd rather do it right the first time. But we will see when we come to put the roof on. I'm hoping you can hear me over Ben doing what he's doing, but this is it pretty much done for the year on this wall. There's lots to do here, and I probably will take that off this year, get rid of a lot of the loose stuff just to secure it really for over winter. But really it's a little bit anticlimactic really, after how long this has taken, that I've now reached the top. Repaired the top, the 7 stones are back in with a few extras, but it's done and repaired. I'd like to say all the ivy is off, but obviously you can see that little bit down there is still not off, but it will be. It's just holding on, it's holding up stones. So once I've finished here, I'll start and clear up some of this, try and make some sense of what's going on around there. So there we go. That's where I'm going to leave it with you with this. It's not the end of the video, so please don't run off. I just thought I'm going to be deciding what I'm going to do over there, but I thought before I show you this in its glory, I'm going to jump down. Well, I won't jump down, we're a long way up. I'm going to climb down the ladder and see if you can see this from the ground. I'll move my buckets before I get down, and because we're going to leave the scaffolding up for a little while because it gives it a bit more protection. It's going to be Hessian for a week or so, and I'll need to come and check it, spray it down, brush it down and all of that. So that's going to stay up for a little bit. Would have been nice to have got the scaffolding down, but I think logistically it's going to be a lot easier to leave it up. I don't know what that camera's doing. There we go. But anyway, I will get down and see if I can show you the peak from the ground and maybe some of the wall. There we go. That's the whole thing in all its glory. Once the scaffolding comes down, you'll get to see it better than it looks at the moment. There's no point up there, but that's because we're not sure how the roof rafters will go on at the moment. We're thinking that probably will. There were no other stones. There was a weird stone, I'll have to see if I can find it, that we think sat on the top, but because the roof caved in and previous to that it was all covered in ivy, we never did get to see what the proper peak looks like. But I'll see if I can find that strange stone for you to have a look at. But that's it pretty much done, bar a tiny little bit of ivy which I'm going to tackle in a bit. But I am so pleased with it and so pleased that it's done. I've loved doing it, but it has been frustrating at times. But let me see if I can find that stone. I say stone, I think it's probably a bit of concrete. Not 100% sure, it could be stone. But this is the weird stone that was on the floor of the bottom, at the bottom of the gable. So with the way it's grooved out there and the kind of shape that it is, and that piece of sandstone that's at the very top, I'll show you that. I'll show you the top of it anyway, but the middle top piece here, it has a slight indentation that it looks like it was put there on purpose. So we're wondering if that stone over there sat on there and that's what took the rafter. But next year, hopefully it'll all become clear, but that's that done anyway.
So in its most basic, unfinished form, there it is. And we're really, really pleased with bringing it back into the room. The flappy plate, I'm sure it has a proper name and I don't know what it's called. This has come up a lovely silver colour, but it's just the colour of the metal. This will all be stove blacked up and it will be the same colour as the stove. It will be a matte black. Now, I did say earlier on that this needs to be cut off so it can actually be closed fully, so the heat from the stove doesn't disappear up the back of the fireplace. Because of the detail we've now seen on this, we're not going to be too hasty. What we're going to do, once the actual wooden fire surround is finished, the metal Victorian fire surround is finished, we're then going to make a decision on this. We don't want to rush in, cut it and actually regret cutting it if we don't need to. So we're going to run the fire with the flap on. We've run it for the last couple of nights and there's plenty of heat. So we're going to run it with it on and see how that goes before making a final decision on whether we keep it as it is or we cut it off. The door opens, so that's absolutely fine. I've still got some paint to get off. There's some paint outside. The detail here, that needs the paint coming off. It needs treating. Ultimately it will be stained and finally fixed into position. The nice thing with this is this simply lifts out, so even though everything will be fixed in place, we can still make a decision on that. Right, so that's it for this week. The fire is in, the fire surround and fireplace.
Feel like an air hostess.
Yeah. Left and right and emergency exits. I'm going to point out the window because that's where the gable end is that you've been on all week. And
all month.
Yeah. I say all week sounded wrong.
Yeah.
I'll cut that bit out.
Well, it doesn't matter. Oh, that's what I've been doing all week.
Well, yeah, I know.
What else can you say?
It just sounded wrong. You're really pleased.
Oh, I am. Yeah, I'm really pleased. I'm a little bit gutted because when I took the ivy off, I think I said that I had a little patch of ivy left to do. Well, I've taken that off and there's now 5 loose stones. So tomorrow...
Only smaller stones, aren't they?
Yeah, they're not huge, but yeah, tomorrow I will be securing them.
And then finished?
And then finished. But I probably won't film that. I don't think. I've shown the finale now.
Yeah.
I can't go backwards.
Maybe in next Sundays the scaffolding will be down.
Yeah.
And we'll get to show it.
And we'll show those as well. But
is.
yeah. So yeah, a little bit more work.
But it's been a good week.
Mm-hmm.
It has been a good week.
Yeah, it's gone really well. I'm really pleased with it.
Yeah. So thank you ever so much for watching. What did I say? We've got subscribers, thank you very much. We've got our members, thank you very much.
Yeah.
We've got the people who give us super thanks, the people who buy us coffees, the people who comment, and everyone who watches.
Yeah.
It means
thank you. It does.
Loads.
Yeah, it does.
We
it
say
really
it
does.
every week.
Yeah, but it does.
We've always said it, I think, every week, and it still means just as much to us. So thank you ever so much for watching, and we will see you next Sunday.
Next Sunday week.
Next Sunday week, a week Sunday.
A week Sunday.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
That's gone really black.